Hey there, firefighters and neighbors alike are calling this view sickening this morning. You can see that there is really nothing left of this historic plantation house. Only the chimney stacks are still standing. We've seen a lot of this, street signs that are knocked down. It is still on. You can see that the street light is still lit and it's still changing. Situation looking very grim. You can see some of these boats that are getting ready to go into the water. There might be a missing person in the water. They are still, as sun begins to set, looking for two people. Flames still very intense this morning. To give you an idea of just how big this fire is, that fire is about 2 miles behind me, and you can still see the flames. Some of these waves will come, and I'm kind of having to turn my back to them. He'll also be booked in connection with that sexual battery case from back in April. Yeah, Camille, it's hard to believe, but we are coming to you from the 3rd floor of Ted and Cindy Williams' home. This is the area we've seen some of the most extensive damage along Highway 11, and like many other families in this area, at this hour, family and friends are out trying to help this family pick up the pieces of their lives.
This is pretty much what we came into.
Moments like this,
oh, yeah, you found our stockings.
filled the day at Cindy Williams' home. On a day when most families are looking through Christmas presents, they were looking for memories.
So excited.
We found?
Oh, we found our stockings.
When the tornado hit, the Williams had family over for Christmas. The home was leveled, Christmas decorations hurled into trees, Christmas dinner thrown into the yard.
God definitely was taking care of us because we were not harmed.
The Williams home was one of 17 destroyed in Pearl River County Wednesday. 8 people were taken to area hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries.
Some of these homes were leveled to the slab on Joe Smith Road, so it looked like toothpicks. I mean, we're very fortunate not having any fatalities. I mean, we're real blessed.
This house isn't just a home for the Williams, it's also a home for a lot of the neighbors around here. During Hurricane Katrina, it served as a safe haven for around 30 people, and it's a topic that still to this day makes Cindy emotional.
I can still cry about Katrina because all of our friends that were from Slidell, my sister-in-law, they brought their friends because they didn't think it was going to hit there, and then they lost everything, you know.
While many look at the devastation and see a Christmas tragedy, Cindy Williams sees it differently.
When you look at where everything's hit around us, it's just, you know. So no, I think it'll be always my most grateful Christmas ever.
The attention now is turned to the cold weather in this area. We've been feeling the temps drop as we've been here from our 4 o'clock to our 5 o'clock live shot. Pearl River County has set up some shelters for those families, some still without power tonight. We are on your side in Pearl River County, Mississippi. Blake Hanson, WDSU News. In an otherwise quiet Carrollton neighborhood, residents woke up to the sound of the new Cone Street River.
My neighbor around the corner called me and told me it's flooding out here. I thought it was raining. It wasn't raining.
No, it wasn't.
Fucking over there where my truck at.
Gerald Williams went door to door trying to warn people so they could move their cars out of what was quickly becoming a lake. Neighbors had to help push Tyler Gardner's car out of the water, but the diagnosis wasn't good. How high up was it in your car? You said about 3 feet. I mean, where did it rise to?
It's up to about the center console. Yeah, the car's done. It's total.
But if you thought everyone else had an abrupt awakening, meet Ellen Dalton.
We were sleeping. We heard somebody going by in a pickup truck honking their horn furiously. Then my doorbell started ringing, and we came out and found this.
Yes, that's his '06 Chrysler that sunk right into the hole formed by the water main break. You seem fairly okay despite what happened.
I mean, when you live in the city, you learn to deal with stuff.
Just another thing to add to the frustration was cars that have been driving through this flood of water and pushing water up against the houses and even further into the cars. Some of these neighbors have been out here yelling people, warning them not to do it, but the cars just kept on coming.
Common sense. It's common sense. You know, you don't want to hurt anyone as much as they're already hurting.
But as the water lowered and tensions calmed, people came out to soak it in.
We band together. And that's what all neighborhoods should do, communities should do in a situation, you know, see what you can do.
The day their neighborhood was briefly a lake.
After Katrina, you learn that stuff's just stuff. You can always replace it. So all that matters is the people around you.
On your side in Carrollton, I'm Blake Hanson, WDSU News.
Across the lake tonight, a former Covington police officer tells the WDSU-I team that a lieutenant at the center of a highly publicized high school football game arrest stepped out of bounds years earlier in his handling of a matter of a different sort. The WDSU-I team has exclusively obtained a recording of that incident involving Covington Police Lieutenant Stephen Short. WDSU-I team reporter Blake Hanson joins us in studio with that investigation. Blake?
You remember Short was the officer who handcuffed and arrested 2 football referees at a game back on October 11th when Mandeville played at St. Paul's High School. Witnesses say Short got into an argument with the officials after those referees asked him for help moving fans back away from the field. Short arrested the men for public intimidation. Days later, the district attorney decided not to pursue those charges, and the city and police launched an investigation into the incident. Nearly a month and a half later, that probe continues. And while there has been no finding of misconduct by Short, who remains on the job, a former Covington patrolman is coming forward with information on another incident involving Short and an audio recording of what happened. In the fall of 2009, patrolman Andy Northcutt was under investigation. The I-team obtained records showing that investigation began after police got a tip about a domestic incident involving Northcutt and his then-girlfriend. Documents show investigators learned that the girlfriend and Northcutt wrestled when he found prescription pills in her possession. Photographs showed bruises on her arms. Northcutt admits he got himself into that bad situation.
Everybody is human, and you learn from your mistakes, but you learn to not make the mistake.
Then Covington Police Chief Richard Palmisano fired Northcutt, citing as a primary reason the domestic incident. Northcutt got on with his life, putting the matter behind him. But he says he's now talking after learning of Short's role in the incident at St. Paul's High School.
That's a clear violation of my rights.
The WDSU-I team obtained a piece of audio captured by Short's pocket recorder that details an October 13, 2009 incident. Records show Short and a fellow sergeant went to the girlfriend's residence on Live Oak Road just west of Folsom. As part of a criminal investigation, the 2 officers went to ask her about a letter Northcutt kept in his vest in case he was killed in the line of duty. But the home is 14 miles outside of Covington city limits. In fact, it's outside of St. Tammany Parish entirely. And records show the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office was not notified of the official visit. Mike Kahn is a former NOPD SWAT commander with decades of law enforcement experience. He tells us such an undeclared visit is highly unusual.
When we got into that area, we would notify that parish's headquarters or dispatch 911 center that we're in that area. Could you please send a car over to meet me at this location where we're going to conduct an interview?
The audio recording shows Short and Northcutt's girlfriend arguing when the officer tried to get her to hand over the letter.
I don't understand why that's part of the criminal investigation.
Well, and here's the deal. I don't need you to understand it.
Just like if he gave me a ring.
Are you telling me no, you are not going to give it to us?
Short would eventually read the girlfriend Miranda rights.
You have the right to remain silent.
And told her he was taking her into custody.
I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm taking you into custody, honey. That's not intimidation.
They should have served a search warrant on the house to retrieve that. They should not have coerced the individual into making her feel like if she didn't give them the letter, she was going to jail.
Northcutt was in the home at the time. Both the recording and subsequent reports indicate that after about 20 minutes, he came out of the house and got involved in the matter. Short asked him to leave. When Northcutt said he didn't want to, tempers flared.
Put handcuffs on me, Andy. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. You're on.
Hey, get your dad. Come up here right now. He's on the phone.
You, Andy?
You're out of your jurisdiction.
No, I have jurisdiction anywhere inside the state of Louisiana.
But the I-team talked to multiple law enforcement sources who said Short's actions were irregular at best.
If you're not commissioned throughout the entire state, or you don't have a state commission like the state police, then your arrest power is nothing more than an average citizen in a different parish.
When Northcutt asked what he would be charged with, Short said obstruction. In the audio, Short later says he placed Northcutt in cuffs for officer safety concerns. Northcutt was never actually arrested. We reached out to the Covington Police for an interview. Newly appointed Chief Tim Lentz declined, noting that the incident happened back in 2009 and he couldn't discuss Short's work history because of what happened at the St. Paul's football game.
So, Blake, we're also learning more about Short's work history.
Through a public records request, the I-Team obtained Short's personnel file. In it, we found 2 suspensions in 1995 and 2001 and multiple letters of reprimand dating back to his over 2 decades at the department. Some for simple matters like punctuality, others related to, quote, conduct of a discourteous nature. They all came under former Chief Jerome DeFranco. We found no disciplinary action taken against Short once former Chief Richard Palmisano took office in 2007.
And we are playing breaking news for you right now out of Araby. The historic LeBeau plantation goes up in flames.
A 3-alarm fire destroyed the historic home overnight, and firefighters are calling it a complete loss. The plantation is located near the river between Bienvenue Street and North Peter Street near the sugar refinery. WDSU News reporter Blake Hanson has been on the scene all morning and joins us now with the very latest. Blake?
You know, neighbors I've been talking to out here describe this plantation house as a landmark, and this morning there is not much left of it. We'll show you as firefighters remain on the scene this morning. You can see only the chimney stacks remain out here and just some of the wood framework left at this historic plantation house that was built back in 1854. I want to show you some video this morning from when we first got on the scene. The fire was still going at that point in time. Firefighters got the call at 2:11 this morning. By the time that they arrived out here, it was fully engulfed, and firefighters tell me there was nothing they could do to save it at that point in time. They tried as best as possible to put it out as quickly as possible, but there was not much left, and there is not much left this morning. We have been talking to neighbors. One of them, Heidi Mellerine, showed us this picture that you can see here of what that fire looked like when firefighters first got here in the morning, and you can see how high those flames were shooting into the air. We talked to Heidi about what it means to lose this plantation house. Take a listen.
I looked out and I thought it was the sugar refinery at first, and I was like, oh my God, LeBeau Mansion's burning. Called my cousin who's a photographer. He came running with his camera and we just watched it burn.
Yeah.
Literally, I just couldn't even go inside, couldn't even tear myself away, just mortified.
Now, as you might imagine, a lot of questions about this incident. It has been unoccupied since the 80s. Firefighters tell me they are looking at this as suspicious. As sun comes up, they're going to be contacting the state fire marshal's office and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to assist with this investigation, try and find out if there is any evidence of arson, but at this point, just being labeled as suspicious. We're on your side live in Araby. Blake Hanson, WDSU News. Back to you.